Stop calling our black kids bad. What's going on, family? Black Feniks checking in. Right now, I'm at the headquarters at Mama's house, working on some renovations. And I wanted to talk to you about that this morning because it was something that I thought about actually from holding a conversation with one of my classmates, homeboys, yesterday. And it really sparked my attention to really say something about this because I don't think we really talk about it. Growing up in rural areas, the projects, we see troubled kids and we see kids do certain things and we say, oh, this kid is bad. He's bad. And literally, I feel like calling our kids bad is like pretty much looking at the calling someone a problem without seeing what led to that problem or why they are showing these attributes of rebellion or disobedience or fighting or stealing or whatever they're doing. Because a lot of times, all the time, we are born with things, and it's things that we tend to develop because of situations that we're in, even as a child. If a child was growing up in a family, he was small and he never had enough to eat, he'll always act a certain way because he never got full. So he'll feel like, man, I got to get this. They'll tend to do different things. And, we got kids and grandkids now. I have grandbabies. The picture that I showed this up right now is actually my oldest daughter and her two kids, which is my grandbabies. And, I feel like sometimes we tend to say things like our kids are bad because we don't know how to address the issue. Like growing up, I knew certain of my family members had mental issues. I felt like, hey, something ain't right with them. You love them, but you're like, something ain't right. But we never address the issue. We don't take any of our kids to see psychiatrists. We don't try to get any help. We just say, oh, so-and-so, all right, this and this. Or if we feel like we can get some money off of them, we'll try to give them some medications to really mess them up. So that way we can get some income, but we're not really addressing why is this kid like this. Some things, like I say, we are born with mental issues. And that's when you look at the American society, especially the white society and the way it's set up, is any type of issues that kids have, any type of issue that people have, they'll try to seek help, counselors, legal medication that can help alter mood swings or whatever they're going through, they'll try to seek help. But coming from a black standpoint, we never really do that. Now, you got in certain areas, don't get me wrong, certain blacks that has done well, or in certain different communities, they actually go and do this now. But it's a lot of us, especially in rural areas in the South and in certain areas where, people just try to deal with things because they got other things to deal with. And they were like, man, I don't, so-and-so just bad, and not knowing that it may well some troubles or some issues that happen in the home. Yes, salute, good rising. There might be some issues that resolve for this kid acting like this from being in the home. Excuse me, give me a second. But we never really know what causes these issues. So we just say she or he is bad. And what really made me want to say this, because when we have kids that are troubled, that have acting out issues, or some things can happen from parents spoiling because we do create problems. So we got to address that too. We got to address the elephant in the room. Certain parents create problems in their kids. And then you have certain parents that literally problems are passed down through generations, me finding out more about my dad heritage and how he was raised and what happened in his family and how I was born. And it made me realize that certain issues that I was having was coming from this situation that I didn't even know nothing about, family. You know what I mean? But it got passed on to me. So I still have an issue I have to address that I was wondering, why is it like this? So certain things, we do because they are passed down. And then you tend to be in environments where you see abuse and you see different loved ones get hurt, and then you growing up in this, and so it makes you a different type of person. You know what I mean? So kids respond to different things, family. And I had one of my homeboys I talked to, shout out to him, shout out to Willie, and we was sitting down and we was talking, and he was saying something. He was like, growing up, folks used to say you was bad. And I know, coming from his mom and different people in the community growing up where I'm from McGee, Arkansas, born in Little Rock. So, growing up, everybody called me Lil Joe. So my nickname growing up is Lil Joe. Then I ended up developing my street name, ended up being Slice G. And then, then now my name is Black Feniks. You kind of, as you grow, you change. You know what I mean? But people still call me Lil Joe, and I embrace it because that's, who I am. You know what I mean? As far as what they known to see me, as far as the locals in the area. So, he was like, man, they used to say you was bad. And he was like, you did this time and you did this and look what you doing now. And all, he was just naming different things. He was like, man, I realized something about you, man. He said, man, you wasn't bad, man. You just was doing what you had to do. We in certain situations where people do what they got to do to survive, what they got to do. Or he was like, you was doing what other people was scared to do. They was in a situation, instead of you starving, you like, I'm gonna go get something to eat. If I got to go rob and steal or sell some drugs, I'm gonna go figure out a way to eat. I'm not gonna starve. Like, it's not gonna happen. So he was like, bro, you just bold enough to do what it took. And people said you was bad. You wasn't bad. Just like being an entrepreneur, you have to be bold. You have to have some type of spirit within you to know that you can do anything. And some kids are like that. A lot of our kids are like that. Salute. Go take care of your business, man. Like I say, this morning I'm actually up early, and I just wanted to come up with this topic, so you most definitely follow back and check it out later. But my goal with this video was just to address the elephant in the room, man. We got to stop calling our kids bad. So when my homeboy was telling me this, and he was like, man, I realized you were just bold, but you had lack of information, and you just did whatever it took. And sometimes people from the outside will look at a problem or look at a kid and say they bad, but not knowing what make this kid do this. Why is he acting this certain way? You know what I mean? And we are in environments and situations where we don't really fully understand why the kids is responding a certain way. So instead of calling the kid bad, I think we need to literally see what's going on. Sometimes a kid can be born in a situation and they feel neglected or feel like their parent gave them away. Like, sometimes a parent can have a child, especially a woman, and maybe the man's not there, she's going through something, and instead of her dealing with it, she might push the child over to someone else for a little while, and then it might end up being years. That's why a lot of the firstborn childs, a lot of them are raised by the grandparents or by an older sibling or something, because sometimes that first child, the parent don't know how to do. They wasn't ready. We got to keep it real with it. So a lot of our younger generation that have kids, they don't. Some of them plan like, ooh, I want to get this baby. I want a baby by so and so. So it'll look like, but they don't really know. You know what I mean? A lot of them don't really plan. It's just they doing, having fun. And let's be realistic. We just having babies. A lot of babies that we have are not playing. And I can be honest with you. I have 3 kids, family. I have my oldest daughter, what you see in this picture. I have a middle daughter that's 15, and I have my son that's 10. And out of all of my kids, family, I'm gonna be honest with you, the only one that was planned was my middle daughter that's 15. When I married her mom, it was planned. I wanted a child and raised. I went through the whole procedure. Like, I cut a cord. I was there when she was born. I seen her. Like, I seen the whole thing, and it was amazing. Now, I'm not saying that I don't love one of my kids and all of them ain't special to me, but I planned for that one. My first one, I was young, family. I was 16 years old when my first child was born. I thought her mom was lying, to be honest with you. My daughter that's in this photo, I thought her mom was like, she said, oh, I'm pregnant. She was a few years, 3-4 years older than me. I'm like, she ain't pregnant. Until actually I ended up getting locked up and seeing the ultrasound and then getting down and we born in a relationship, but it wasn't planned. I was young. I was just doing something, And my last one, to be unrealistic with you, when you're going through life, we go through midlife crisis, you grow up, and we have to be realistic with you. At that time, I went through a divorce. You're going through a divorce, you going through life, things, are still hazy. I've been out of prison for a while. I've been working, trying to find me. I was feeling kind of lost, getting a relationship that really was like a fling, and then I end up having a baby. But I wasn't sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm trying to have a baby by this lady." I found out later when she contacted me after we broke up that she was pregnant, and she told me, hey, like a few months later, I thought honestly I was free from the situation. I'm like, man, you get some of the relationships that were just like like a haze, and I was like, what, I'm glad that's over, and all in my life, and I got a baby by her, you know what I mean, and I love my son. I'm gonna be there to death do us apart, but we have to be realistic that some of our kids are born in certain situations that's not healthy, but we do things out of lust, we do things, and so your kids unconsciously they go through some of these things that you go through, and if we sleeping with different people and being in different relationships, we tend to pass these spirits on down to our kids, and then you wonder certain things why your kids act out this way or why they always want to be around mama, because sometimes they might feel abandoned. If we start getting some psychological help, we'll start understanding that kids can have a separation anxiety where the mother might push them off a little bit or something. So we just have to be realistic with it. Good rising, good rising. And so, I just wanted to be realistic and just talk about this because I feel we got to stop calling our black kids bad. We have to address the issue, address the elephant in the room, find out what the issues is, really help them and encourage them, because we all different. Like I say, honestly, I found out things about my father that really helped me understand why things was the way they was, how I grew up. It went from literally, I'm going to be honest with you, it went from me literally hating this man to loving him in a different way, like having sympathy and empathy, knowing that the situation he was in wasn't a good situation, and it's like I'm here, but I knew I'm here because God had a purpose for my life. You know what I mean? So even though you might have a kid unprematurely in your mind, if the child was born, in my opinion, it's here for a reason. So I have had many people on his side, have even told me bluntly that my dad should even had kids. And, literally he shouldn't have had kids, and whoever allowed him to have one shouldn't have been with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the situation? Why was she with him? You know what I mean? And like, this is what has been told to me. And then once I know the truth about the situation, how my grandfather was and grandmother and what was going on with that family, like, it makes me learn more about myself of why I was responding the way I was, not fully knowing, and even being grown now and still dealing with issues. You know what I mean? Because just because you grown don't mean you're not still dealing with childhood and kid issues that was never addressed. So I feel like we should address them now when we have a child that may be rebellious, a child that may act out. We should sit down, talk, to figure out why, and if they need that extra attention, give them that extra attention. But us calling them bad or not want to be around them or whatever the situation, oh, I don't want to keep so-and-so. You can bring so-and-so, you know how they be picking with the kid. Oh, I keep him. I don't want to keep him. Nah, you keep him over there. You got to figure something else out. We got to stop doing that, family. You know what I mean? Like, if we really love our kids, we're going to have to help one another. I had a situation where I was driving by in the community, and a little boy was shooting at cars, shot at my truck. I stopped and got out and talked to him, and when knocked on his door, found out I know his family, and I was just, hey man, I feel like that's what we have to do. He could have hit somebody else's car and they want to try to sue you or whatever, you know what I mean? But I feel like I was that person, and someone needs to step back and just, pull our coattails. And I remember he didn't want me to go in the house and tell his mom. He said, "Mister, I'm sorry, I won't do it no more. I won't do it no more." He didn't want me to go in there and tell on him, you know what I mean? But I went in there and said, "Hey man, he out here doing this. It could have been the wrong person that could have took it a different route." And I feel like that's what we have to do to our kids, our village, man. We have to look out for our, for the little ones, because sometimes they do things, we don't understand. We don't know why someone want to do certain things, but we can't just look at him and say, "Oh, he bad." I'm not going to call a little man bad. He was probably just curious of what, to see if he could hit a moving object or something, or he might end up being a good shooter one day, not knowing. But I'm just saying that I'm not going to call him bad, just because he did that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, hey man, that's something that you shouldn't do. We can do something different. We can put something in the yard and make it move if you want to shoot a moving target. You know what I mean? So sometimes I think we have to think outside the box and really open up when we're dealing with our kids, like talking to them and really trying to see what the issue is, because we have to address the family. You know what I mean? So I'm only coming to you at this standpoint because, I was called bad growing all up. I was called bad. I done had women call me bad growing. I ain't had girlfriends little said, "Lil Joe, I like you, but you just bad." I'm like, man, like literally I done had women tell me, their kids tell me, and now people look at me and just like, man, you bold. I like what you do, but I'm that child that they call bad, the one that they said, that wasn't gonna make it to see 18. They told me that, and even though I went to prison, they he probably go in there and die in prison. No, I came out and did some things that even some of the good kids that went to prison, it's a lot of good ones that I seen, and I'm like, man, how you get here? You was square, you didn't do nothing. Mama said you was perfect. Now they there. You see, sometimes we tend to do that, and then you got those parents now thinking like, now they feel the situation because that child is in that situation. Nah, the good child, so to speak. You know what I mean? So sometimes, man, we have to be humble and we have to realize that we have issues as a parent when we have kids. Most of us, just to be real, nobody give us no book and say this is how you do it. Most of us don't know what we doing. We learn how to raise our kids just like our parents did, and that's why to me it's so important. It's so valuable if you have a good parent or you have a good overseer or someone that's older than you that has been there. That's what they for. They figure something out. They can pass that information on to you, and you can use that information. Might not be verbatim, but you can use that information to better your situation. You see what I'm saying? That's why we need the elders. That's why we need to honor our parents and honor those who came before us, our ancestors, because they have experienced something. And one thing I learned about life, family, history repeats itself. There's nothing new under the sun. There's just different names for different things. It's just different. Technology has got better. Don't get me wrong. They wasn't, they didn't have this type of stuff that we got now. But life as a human, as living and breathing and dealing with people and treachery and love and faithfulness and obedience and death before, all this stuff been going on forever. You know what I mean? People been raising their kids, and I feel like a lot of it comes from a lack of information. And I'm not going to lie to you. This pandemic situation that caused a lot of kids to stay at home, a lot of parents didn't even know what to do. Let's be realistic. Like I was just watching the news and watching different feeds, seeing that a lot of parents was saying, women and men, somebody to hurry up and get these kids back in school. They didn't even want to raise their kids. They didn't want to be around because some people feel like the school should raise your kids. And or the TV should raise their kids. And it's funny because then they'll do certain things. They wonder like, well, why they do this? You didn't let someone else raise them. You didn't let a system raise them that want them to be a certain way. You got your kids, now we got our kids question who they are generally because they watch so much social media and so much TV that they so young that their mind's not exposed that they'll question themselves. Well, do I supposed to be this or am I, I didn't even heard someone say, nah, I didn't know. I was just, at first I thought this, I'm like, man, but it just goes back to the stuff that we seeing now, because the stuff that we see now on TV, it wasn't like it was when we was growing up. Let's be honest. I'm 41. So anyone that's, in 30s, 30s and 50s, we seen a different, well, at least 35 and 50, we seen a different thing on TV. You know what I'm saying? It had a little bit more control. And especially being in the Bible Belt, being in the South, But now, things are a lot different. And I feel like we're going to have to address the elephant in the room with our kids. We really need to stop calling our kids bad, family, and just start addressing the issue. Whatever the issue is that need help, we need to address the issue, even in the grown man and women. Now, we can't change anyone. They like to say once a person gets to a certain age, they set in their ways, and it can be true if that person don't want to wake up, so you can't wake them up. But we still got these little ones, family. We still got these little ones out here that's easily influenced and that's trying to find their way. And if you put titles on them, sometimes they live up to it. Just like shout out to the artist Boosie, you know what I mean? Coming in, his name was little Boosie badass. That's what he called himself. And you know, people probably called him, man, little badass Boosie. You know what I'm saying? Always into something. And but he took, even though they might call him and he was bold enough to do whatever, look at how he had started a legacy for his kids off of something that was bad. So I'm not saying that we want to encourage them to do certain things, but we have to realize that the ones that we call bad might be special, might be real special, might be life changing, might really help our generation and their generation do things that we never even imagined, because they're a little bit more bolder and they're willing to do things that you might not be willing to do, that you might be uncomfortable doing. You know what I mean? So I just think that it's important that we just stop calling our kids that, figure out what's going on, work on the elephant in the room, work on ourselves, work on why we are the way we are, and really just try to help the situation, family. You know what I mean? Like my mom, I'm gonna share something with you. My mom passed in this house that we in right now, and this entertainment center that I built in the background actually was, my mom enjoyed watching TV, enjoyed watching movies and like nice things, and she never had a chance to, you know, have something like this. So I wanted to do it for her and for my wife, because my wife enjoyed it. So I wanted to do something different, but my mom passed in here. So to me, this house is my mom's tomb. You know what I mean? She died in the room that's literally behind this wall. In a couple days, it'll be our anniversary when she passed. My mom passed on the 25th of October. Me being here, renovating this house, putting my sweat, my blood, my tears, I'm paying homage to my mom, because she left me and my sister something that a lot of parents don't do, or did have done and the kids took advantage of it, which things happen. But for me to come and put my blood, my sweat, my tears, the things I have learned, my education, me to come in here and literally do it, or don't know how to do it and have to Google it and look it up and do it and fix it, it makes me feel good, family. Because I was that kid that everybody called bad. He ain't gonna be nothing. He ain't gonna die. He ain't gonna live long than 18. You know what I mean? But my mom believed in me though. And she never called me bad. She just figured out it's something else. He think different, you know. And she was the one that introduced me to welding. Like literally, she introduced it. She planted that seed. I never forget on visitation when she came down to visit me in prison, and she asked me, "What are you gonna do when you get out, son?" And at that time, I had 10 years to do, family. You know what I mean? I had to do a decade. So I'm thinking like, you know, I told her, you know what any youngster would say, well, I'm gonna get my GED in here. Because at that time, you had to get it to get out, unless you had some type of super mental issue and couldn't get it. But you had to be, you know, they were stipulating you to get your GED before you got out of prison. That was part of them helping you rehabilitate yourself, so to speak. And that's all I could tell her. You know, I didn't really know. You know, I wasn't thinking job. I didn't want that, you know, but I was like, I don't know, you know. And she was like, I've been watching TV. And these welders make a lot of money. You know, they can travel, they can do this, they can do that. And she was like, maybe you should be a welder. You know, I know you ain't gonna get no regular job. You know, it ain't gonna really make no money, you know, because I was young and I was raised with hustlers. So I seen how they was getting money, and I knew that you can get it. And so she was like, you willing to take risks, you willing to travel. So why you think about doing this? And here I go into the trade 20 years later, you know, plus later. That bad kid. And I feel like I still have a lot of learning to do, family. I still have a lot of growing to do. And I still have a lot of people to reach with my movement with HogOn University, you know what I mean, with HogOn Welding. My goal is to help change things for us, you know, for those who was taught or told that they couldn't do it. So I feel like I know I'm not responsible of waking anyone up, but I am a light, family. And I feel like when people wake up, it's my responsibility to have some information ready for them when they wake up, when they get to searching, because that's what we do. They say when you look for the truth, you search for it. So when people search on, you know, different platforms, especially YouTube, because this, you know, had been around forever, and you search certain archives for videos and you looking for information, because I was that black welder looking for information. and it seemed like I couldn't find nothing about independence, starting the business, doing it right. What you do, what you expect, how you go through this, are you gonna meet this on the job? Like they really wasn't saying that. They was just showing you how to work on the job. Wasn't nobody black saying anything about being independent. Wasn't talking any, giving any jewels about starting an LLC, how to get that business off the ground, how to start their brand, how they doing it, how they failed, what didn't work out. You know what I mean? Just realistic. I wasn't seeing that. So you know what I said? I'm gonna become that. And now you can literally just Google, you can go on YouTube now and just put in black welder. And I guarantee you might see my face a few times. And it wasn't because I planned to do that. No. I just felt like the information I was looking for, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. So once I found something, I was going to provide it. And I know things are going to grow and grow. And I had a gentleman from Atlanta called me the other day about being involved in this program that he's working on. And he said, man, brother, I've been watching your content. I've been watching what you're doing. And it was like, your numbers should be a whole lot better. He said, you got good information, man. Why your number? He said, your numbers should be better. Like, you know, if I got 3,000 followers or whatever on Instagram, he was like, man, you should have 100,000 people sleeping on you. And you know what I told him? It's going to happen in its due time. Because my goal, my purpose was never focusing on them numbers. I just wanted to help someone. I figured I want to live to be remembered. And I figured the best way to live to be remembered is to lead by example. So I wanted to be example of those from the rural areas, those from the trenches, those from the hoods and ghettos that said, the kid, the child that said, you're not going to be nothing. You're not going to make it. You can't do nothing. I want to be the example for them and let them know you can do anything. You know what I mean? And that's why I still would never remove my beard or my gold teeth, because I'm from that era. You know what I mean? And it means something to me because I know the history, the lineage of it. So I want to stay who I am. But when we hold a conversation, you can see that I'm not the person that I was. You see what I'm saying? So I don't have to be what the world want me to be what I need to be and still help the world. You see what I'm saying? So I want to lead by example. And that's why I give the content randomly. You know, I just do things randomly. And I'm going to add more structure to my videos. But sometimes I feel like life is what it is sometimes. And things that we do are not planned. And situations happen in life where if we don't speak on it right then, or we don't talk about it then, it's never going to be addressed. So I just give the content as I feel. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to say, oh, I want to schedule this for Wednesday. I'm going to hold it to Wednesday if I feel that information need to be said today. You know, that's why I don't try to edit anything. I like to go live or just upload, because I feel like I only wish we could, I only wish life was like a video game sometimes. You know what I mean? Where you can add a new man or reset or go back, or you see this fall, you can avoid it. But sometimes we have to face things head on, and we need to know, and our kids need to know how to deal with things. Okay, he hit this wall. What did he do? What happened next? You know what I mean? So it's always the way we respond to things. So I just wanted to say this morning that we need to stop calling our black kids bad. We should address the elephant in the room. We should figure out what the issues is. We should help them with the education. We should encourage them to do better. And we should lead by example. You know, it's easy to tell someone to do something until you do it for yourself. It's easy to say, oh, I do this, I do that. And it's easy to say, oh, once I get everything good, I'm good. I'm going to start, you know. So some people think that, man, you're not, if you got it in your heart to do it, just do it. Because you might wait so long and you might not get a chance to do it. You know what I mean? So don't put something off because you feel it ain't the right time. Do it. You'll be surprised. Y'all be blessed. Keep prospering. Hog on.